Welcome to Prompted and Unfiltered, where AI gives us a topic and we discuss it, give our own thoughts. Brittany, what's today's topic?
Today's topic is the science of happiness.
The science of happiness. Does anybody have a happy story from today?
Nope.
No? Okay, fine. I'll go first. So I left the house this morning and I was thinking, this is going to be a fantastic day. Super happy. And then I met this woman that I've never met before, and she berated me for like an hour about my bad habits, my bad tendencies, definitely trying to ruin my happiness. And then for some reason, she stabbed me like 15 freaking times, and I was bleeding. After that, it led to a little bit of waterboarding, and then she charged me like $1,000 for it. So my day didn't start off too happy.
Is this like a riddle or something? Like, what is happening here?
No,
I feel like
I'm
you're being a little
dentist,
dramatic.
right? Yeah, I'm not being dramatic. I'm not dramatic. This was the dentist.
I think if that's the case, man, you got to find a new dentist who can do it with one shot.
There you
40
go.
seems excessive.
No, it was a pretty good experience, but I do have pretty poor hygiene in my opinion, so she was right to berate me. The 2 or 3 or 4 pots of coffee a day is probably not great for my dental health.
Probably not.
Probably not. And you said you were going to cut down on coffee. You said you were going to drink 4 cups a day.
I did
For
before
a
I
day.
left the house this morning. Well, if my dentist is watching this is not coffee. Donnie, what's the happiest thing that happened to you? I mean, you guys missed the tornado.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah, missed a tornado, so but it's windy again today. It's terrible out there. Big branch fell and we got more cleanup to do here.
We got strong winds coming in right now, potential tornado stuff. Patrick, you're planning a festival. That's happy, right?
It'll be happy when it's over, I think. Yeah, I don't, it's just, I had a real hard time surviving the weather that we had down here. It was like 70, 75 degrees, bright sunny skies, not a cloud that could be seen.
I mean, that's
Nice
how it was
gentle
here
breeze.
earlier.
Nice gentle breeze kind of rolling in over the water. You can't complain too much.
We didn't have that. But it was like 70 and sunny all day. It was just 40-mile-per-hour winds to go with it.
Does anybody know how to mute Patrick? Cut him out in the podcast.
But I had a good day. It was nail day, so I got to go get my nails done today, and I took a nap. So, all in all, a
Is
pretty
it
good
just
day.
me? Is it just me, or did anybody else think that she had a good day because Justin got stabbed 40 times this morning?
Probably.
I mean, that helps. It definitely helped that he was at the dentist for like 4 hours.
Oh yeah, I was there for literally 4 hours. I got there at like 8:30 and I didn't leave till well afternoon. So it was a long day. So when I went there, it was supposed to be a new patient, just consultation. It's gonna be quick in and out, fill out paperwork, and then she's like, "Hey, do you want to go ahead and do this? I got time." And I was like, "Sure." And then she's like, "Do you want to go ahead and do the other side?" Sure. So it was, I guess, just knocking it all out at once and being done with it for a while was nice, but it was not planned, I guess. It was a good thing, but that's what I would say. All right, so AI wants to know about happiness. Brittany, what does AI want to know about happiness today?
AI wants to know what research says about happiness and how it's measured.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because much like a lot of the different medical things out there, the measurement of that seems remarkably subjective. Like, what one person could say is like a number 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 of their happiness, it would be really easy for another person to perceive that as only a 5. Because I think, and from what I've read a little bit on this topic, most everything is just like a questionnaire as to how you measure it. You're like, hey, how do you feel today on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel fill in the blank? And so I think it's kind of interesting because there's no like chemical measurement that says, hey, this is the happiness gene. You have 100% of your daily value, you know? So I think it's kind of interesting because this is something that is just really so subjective. I mean, can anybody actually answer more money, more problems, or does more money make less problems? Because it's all about your perception.
So Donnie, I'll ask you, if we both placed the same $100 bet and we both won, are we both happy about that?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so I think there kind of is a quantifiable measurement. Maybe not over general happiness, but I think there is some things that would make everybody happy, right? If we both lost, we would both not be happy about it.
Yeah, I think it's.
So, but let me throw.
Go ahead.
Let me throw.
But somebody might be
analogy.
happier than the other person.
Exactly, because what if you won $1,000 and Donnie only won $10? You guys still both won, but is Donnie going to be truly as happy as you? Or is he going to be like, man, I wish I would have played that other one? And could his win, in that sense, be perceived as sadness or a lack of joy, so to speak, because he's viewing that not as I won $10, but I missed out on $990. I'm not picking on anybody here. Sorry, Donnie. I'm just using the example.
Oh, I am.
I fully believe that you would beat Justin if it came down to gambling.
I doubt it.
Probably not.
Having
arm
spent
wrestling,
time in
though.
Vegas, like with Justin, I can say no. I'm just kidding.
That is true. We do have a Vegas trip coming up, so we can determine happiness when we get there.
All together. We get to go all
We can.
together.
And we can determine that I'm going to be a lot happier because I'm not losing money at the casino. I'm keeping
I've
all of
just
my
got-
money to spend at Gordon Ramsay restaurants.
I've just got to hide the money from Justin so that he doesn't
It
spend it all.
It just depends on how many whiskeys I have, how happy I am, whether I'm winning or losing. Whiskey can dictate happiness
I would agree with that.
or sadness.
But it could also dictate sadness, like
Yeah.
either
Yeah,
A,
it could
because it
go
ran
either
out,
way,
or
yeah.
B, because you had too much.
Yeah.
Or potentially the underlying reason you're drinking whiskey. So.
This is true.
Yep.
Probably because you got married. If I had to think it again.
Well, that's my reason. That may not be Patrick's reason.
Patrick's is because he has dogs.
Donnie's reason is his mother-in-law, which comes back to because he got married.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's kind of what it comes to.
So that would be an interesting survey that we need to find is like how many men are truly happy after being married. Does their happiness tend as a whole to go up or down?
Y'all should be
take
very,
our answers
very
off screen.
careful with your answers right now.
That's fair. Does your wife watch this podcast?
I will send it to her.
I'm just
I-
kidding.
100%.
Please don't. She doesn't need
I have
that.
everybody's cell phone number right now.
Okay, so it is measurable, but it's quantifiably measurable, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, and that was kind of the interesting term interesting thing that I came up with because a lot of the scales are, like a lot of it is almost like that Myers-Briggs type stuff where like you're going to ask several different questions in different forms and try to kind of average some of your answers together. But it's also really easy it's just so subjective because I can read the same question 3 different times and come up with 3 different ratings on it, just depending on how you are in that exact moment. And so, in theory, somebody could be taking a test, and let's say the test was 30 minutes long. At the beginning of the test, they may answer some of these questions as like, oh yeah, I'm pretty happy, but by the time they get to the end of it, they're like, get this piece of paper out of me, like, I'm not so happy now. And as a result, if we were just basing it on that, their happiness may not be accurate.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So not only quantifiable, or not quantifiable, but also subjective based on the time of day, all the other factors going on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm currently not happy. We'll throw this out there. I forgot to plug up my microphone. So. It's okay. I did click the record button, so we are moving forward. But.
Good job.
Donnie, what do you
Well-
think about the quantifiability of happiness before we move on?
Me? Oh. No.
All right, we'll move
I
on.
don't think you could, I don't know. You can't measure somebody's happiness in a, like, number.
No, I think that people are, it's more of a, happiness is more of an inner thing than anything else. And it's not going to be the same with each individual.
Okay, now we can move on to segment 2. What else does AI want to know about happiness?
Well, interestingly enough, we've kind of already touched on it. It's the role of money, relationships, and purpose in long-term fulfillment.
So we did kind of touch on it, but I think we can definitely go deeper in that. I think when you're talking about overall happiness, all three is going to play a role, and you can't have true happiness, in my opinion, off of just one of those things, right? So if you have a ton of money, all you got is money, right? If you've got no social network, it doesn't have to be marriage or spouse or whatever, but friends or anybody to talk to, I think you're going to just live alone in a cave with all your money and be kind of depressed. There's so much stuff you can do. Now the last one is interesting because it could potentially be one of the only ones that could be standing alone, like if you, like purpose. Like if you had a driving purpose, and you got up and you enjoyed this and you was chasing your goals, that could lead to happiness. But I really think they all kind of play a good balance to a point. And they're kind of all important. Money itself can't be your only happiness factor like I talked about, but also with that I think there is a point to where if you have all your basic necessities covered on money, just throw out a quantifiable number like $1 million, right? You got $1 million. Is that going to be different than having $1 billion to your happiness? I don't think so, right? I think there's a point that once you get there that no more money can fulfill that, and that's where something else has to take over. Either the relationship part with, a spouse, a friend, a colleague, whatever, or your driving purpose, or your happiness will fade at that, right? It would kind of top out on the money. Well, what do y'all think?
Yeah, I think because there was a study that came out in 2010 that talked about how for most people their day-to-day happiness doesn't increase once they proportional to their income any longer once they've reached $75,000 a year in income. Now that's obviously pre-inflation adjustments, but I think I don't remember all the parameters to the study. I was trying to look it up, but I can't find it. But I know that the premise of it was that once you're making that $75,000, the amount you that work to life balance, to earn more than that, you're typically giving up a lot more of your personal life, and that tends to decrease your happiness. But a lot of the upsides that come with that are there's just not enough that are beneficial. A lot of the upsides, like going from 75 to 150, for example, you're not making enough money that you can quit work. You're really making just enough money that you can spend it on some stuff that you enjoy, but not necessarily I can just completely do whatever I want to. You're still controlled by your job. And if I remember right, there's a gap, and I cannot remember the gap, but it was huge. I want to say it was from 75,000 to $750,000. Your happiness doesn't necessarily increase, but once you get past that gap, in theory it does, because then you can pay people to take on responsibilities and not have to be doing as much work. You can hire landscapers. You can, obviously you can do that with less, but you can, as an example, you can hire people to take care of your grass so you have more time. That $750,000, if that was the correct threshold, is that point where you can afford to conceivably buy back enough of your time to reinstitute that work-life balance. And so I think that I think you're absolutely right. I think that up until I think it's all kind of that grading scale of yes, I can reach my maximum happiness if I was making $5 million a year. Sure, wouldn't have to work. If I just had $5 million of free money coming in every year, I wouldn't have to worry about anything. But there's also like, hey, maybe you can be 90% of your happiness at 75,000, and is that extra 10% really worth all the work it's going to take to get that extra little bit of money? And for most people, I mean, their income's going to cap out at a certain point. Like maybe present company excluded because we all own businesses and stuff, but people who are working in a traditional job, like it's not common to be making more than 250 without a bunch of advanced degrees and a bunch of this stuff. So for somebody, if you can go out and make $150,000 working a 9-to-5 job, doing all this, and your next gap is going to take 4 years of school plus all this other investment, and you can make an extra $100,000, is that really worth it? Maybe not, because if you're already making enough money, it's not going to drastically change your life so much that it's worth all that sacrifice. To an extent.
Wow, I think Patrick and Justin need to do this podcast by themselves.
We're
Just a wealth of knowledge here.
You want me to pick on you for a minute? Okay, so let me ask you this, Donnie. Let's get you involved a little bit, right?
Yeah,
so,
sorry, I didn't mean to take over.
No, I love it, right?
Yeah.
So, but I want Donnie's thoughts on this one. Looking at those different three, I'm saying you have to have a little bit of all three, right? So let's say hypothetically, you had zero money, all of your bills was paid, you had no purpose, and you had to spend your entire time with just your family. Would you be happy? Well, that's a loaded question. Yeah, I'm picking on you for sure. Uh-huh.
It's that dangerous territory again.
It is.
I put it here.
You would be happy to an extent, I think. You would be happy that, all your bills are paid and you have family. But if you didn't have money to do things with your family, other than, what you can do without money,
Well, I mean, there is people, I'll bail you out a little bit here. There are people in that aspect, though, like, they don't have a ton of money, right?
Yeah.
But they're typically happy,
Right.
right? I'll say what Donnie is scared to say, because I'm upstairs and I'll lock my door. But if I had to spend all day in the house, I love my wife, right? 100%. But if I had to spend all day in the house with her or whatever, and did not have a purpose or something else I was trying to accomplish or a goal I was working towards, I would eventually go crazy. Like, there's only so much that I can do just kind of sitting around unless I'm wanting to do something. Now, that purpose could involve her, right? But I still think there has to be at least a purpose or something else going with it. Once income is stable, right? Like, once it's to that point. Taking that out the question.
Yeah, I missed the purpose part. My mic must have, or something cut out. I didn't hear that part. So.
You thought I was asking you if money was more important than family?
No,
that's not where it was going. I didn't set you up that hard.
Family, but I didn't hear your last part.
Man, I was really setting it up on that one if I skipped out purpose.
Yeah.
Well, let me throw something in there because I think this kind of goes along with that discussion. Let's look at retirement. So a lot of people die shortly into retirement. They quit working. They have all this money. Some people struggle in retirement, sure. But a lot of people who don't struggle in retirement, all their bills are paid. They don't have to work. They have plenty of money coming in to sustain them. And a lot of them end up as shut-ins in their house, not doing anything, and die shortly after that without really ever getting to enjoy it. So I think you're absolutely right. That purpose is really what drives that, because the people who are successful in retirement tend to be the ones who generate a purpose of some sort. They're giving back to charity. They're starting a second career, like in the twilight of their life, or they're doing something to generate that purpose. Like, that purpose is 100% the most important thing. Like, I personally don't believe that you can, even if you have all the money in the world, you're not going to be as happy as you would be if you had a purpose. Elon Musk could sell all of his Tesla shares and never work again a day in his life. But would he be as happy as he is going out and doing all the other things and going to space and all this other stuff? Probably not.
He just got back from space. He saved some astronauts, right? Fantastic purpose. I don't know if you saw that or not. Well, he didn't get back, but
I was gonna say.
he didn't do that. He's too busy to do that, right? I couldn't imagine with his purpose, like what he has going on, what his daily schedule looks like. Like, it's probably ridiculous.
I
Probably
don't
something like
know
Mark
that he
Wahlberg,
ever
who
sleeps.
freaking
Like, he may
works
not
out at 4 a.m.
Well, and on top of that, doesn't he have like 10 or 15 kids or something like that?
Oh, he's got a whole slew of children. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
and all
If he keeps
names
going,
like
man,
XYZ, I don't know.
All right, now that we know that I've got to cut out half that section, I guess we can move on. I think we had 4 total things that AI
Yeah.
wanted to know. What's number 3?
I don't know, you're cutting out really bad. Practical habits and mindset shifts to increase happiness. So, just me, like, reading some of the books we read, having some habits to form, you know, showing daily gratitude, exercising, making sure you're sleeping, staying off social media, just doing little things like that can help increase your happiness every day. And just habits, just wake up every day with that mindset that you're going to do that. And generally, if you have the mindset that you're happy, then you are typically happy. Like, better things happen when you have a happier mindset.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think mindset is a huge deal as far as happiness goes, and you know, occupying yourself with useful things versus, like you were saying, social media and those types of things. I think it definitely helps your happiness.
Which I think you've read this one, but the core of, like what Brittany was saying, most of the motivational books or things written about that really preach heavily on mindset, right? For different aspects of life. But Donnie, I know you've read, 10X, Grant Cardone, right? Everybody's read that. And that was the mindset of basically whatever your goals are, 10X it. Are you going to be disappointed if you hit 9 times what your original goal was, but you fell short of your main goal? No, because you freaking superseded that goal, right? Now, if you set your goal at, 1 times, like, when we're speaking of money here, it's like, I want to make $1 million. You set your goal at $1 million and you make 900,000, you might be a little disappointed. But if you set your original goal at $10 million and you make 8 million, you're not going to be disappointed in that, right? So mindset, how you look at stuff, is huge. Me and Brittany just recently read together, like we've started doing that a little bit, a book by Eric Wood. He's a football player, lives here in Louisville, played for the Buffalo Bills. He was a lineman and or a linebacker, but
He was a sinner.
he was a center. I don't know what it is. Forget it, right? Eric Wood. I'm sorry if I missed that. But
Tackle What's Next is the book.
Tackle What's Next is the name of the book. And the premise is he got injured. He played for the Buffalo Bills for like 12 seasons. He got injured, which was a career injury. It happens a lot in football. But he had to basically figure out his new purpose, what he was going to do next, and not let the mindset of, hey, I've got injured, basically define the rest of his life, right? He had to have the mindset to push forward. So a lot of books have that concept.
Yeah, I think it makes me think of a book called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And the premise of the book is like, we're not playing life to win. Nobody's ever going to win life. Nobody's going to ever get to the point where everybody's just like, hey, you're done, great job. We're playing so that we can, whatever our goals are, we can perpetuate into the next generation and the next generation and create something that lives on forever, And that kind of, like, to me, that's what makes, it's all about that mindset. If I focus on a goal, whether it's tangible or intangible, I can fall short of it. But if I focus on a goal that is infinite, that is more about perpetuating an idea or a mindset, then my goal becomes something I can never accomplish because I'm always moving forward. But isn't that what our goals should be? Like, our goals should not be, in a lot of ways, they shouldn't be things we can accomplish, because eventually, yes, our life will end, But our true purpose and our goals should be things that supersede us and supersede our singular life and, you know, our rotations around the globe. It really comes down to what are we doing to make things better, to give back, to make the world better, in the sense of, hey, I'm going to try to grow a business. I'm going to provide income, resources, things like that to my employees. We're going to grow a successful business, and I'm going to impact their lives so that they can impact their kids' life, so they can impact their grandkids' life, things like that. And all of that can start as that trickle down from us. But I also think, you know, our goal should be, like for me here, our goal is to make Portland, to really educate people on the exposures they have, right? We're in insurance, so that's our goal. We're never going to accomplish that. We're never going to fully educate 100% of the residents of Portland, Texas. That's never going to happen, unfortunately. But we can keep trying all the way up until the day that I either retire or die, which is hopefully not before I retire. But that's our goal. We should be perpetuating that so that then whatever agent they bring in to take on Portland after I leave or retire or die at my desk, that person is accomplishing that same goal of trying to perpetuate things and make Portland a better place. And I think that's really how we should approach life, because if our mindset is so singularly focused on one goal, like, hey, I have to have $10 million or I'm not happy, now we've given up on all of that, you know? If our goal is, hey, I want to have $10 million so that I can do this, this, and this, now we've changed our perception of what our goal is, and it's a lot easier for us to be happy because we're focusing on what we have done and what we are able to do as opposed to what we don't have. And I think that's really where a lot of people, like ourselves, like myself, go wrong. Like, my happiness definitely goes down because I focus on what I don't have or what I haven't accomplished as opposed to what we have accomplished. So I think it ties back into perception.
Yeah, you definitely have to celebrate the small wins to have happiness.
Celebrate the small wins, yes, but don't stop focusing on the long-term goal, you know, as far as the purpose comes, right? All of it needs to be separated, you know, celebrated together. You know, yes, small wins, cool, but I'm still focused on this, and this is not over, right?
Yeah.
So, long-term. Donnie, what's your happiness goal?
My happiness goal.
Yeah, I guess. You know, Patrick wants to educate everybody in Portland on insurance, right? That is a main goal, big goal. Is he going to fail? Probably, but if he gets to 75%, is he going to be upset about it? No, I doubt it.
I guess my goal would be to
Paint them walls?
Yeah, paint these walls, and then, you know, take care of everybody that I can in the community here. I mean, not as far as, you know, if they have something broke, fix it, and be the one that they call to do that, rather than call somebody from, you know, 30 miles away or whatever. I want to be the one that people call when they need.
So to add on that a little bit, I know you was telling me a couple days ago you guys had the tornado come by like literally 2 miles from your house.
Yeah.
F4 destroyed a lot of stuff, and you guys have been out volunteering and trying to help clean up and help relief efforts, and bought as much stuff as you could, toilet paper, paper towels, you know, necessities.
Yeah.
You know, your goal in that won't go unwarranted, right? The people see that. That's going to make them a little bit happier, right? Celebrate those small wins as well. Like, I think that's huge. So that's going to be good. Are you guys going back some more to do some more volunteer work?
We were going to go today, but the wind is terrible out there. And we went by some places, but didn't see a lot of people doing anything. So
the National Guard is organizing that, right? The relief efforts and stuff right now.
They were here, but I don't know if they are still here or not. I didn't see any out today. It was like some of the little local cities were doing their own organizing. We stopped by one guy's place today, and he didn't get any damage or anything, but just somebody we knew, and he had been out helping in one area, and I think they were kind of organizing it themselves and doing some cookouts and that type of thing, feed people and helping them do some cleanup.
Yep, community, right? Part of being happy is the family and community area, we talked about earlier. So,
So Justin, what's your happiness goal?
my happiness goal. Um, Brittany, can I unlock this door?
Yeah, maybe.
I just want to make sure you pass that. Not business wise, I guess. My long term happiness goals, of course, is to, help the community, everybody essentially know who I am, what I stand for, but provide for my family, give them the best life, but ultimately be able to do what I want to. Like it's a big financial goal for me as well. Like I want to get to the place that I do not have to worry about bills, which I don't right now, but I don't have to worry about that. I don't want to have to worry about retirement in the future for myself, my family, or my customers. Right? I want to help them be set up for success as well. Kind of going along with the motto, right, of where we're at. We drink the Kool-Aid, but we believe in it. That's why we're here, right? If we didn't believe in it, we wouldn't be doing it. So basically, I want to see my happiness goal. We've talked about this before, and also my purpose. I love problem solving. And I love seeing everybody around me succeed. So I am happy when a team member has an aha moment, right? And they say, "Oh, I can do that, and this is why I can do that," Or, my kid, it's like, "Oh, I can do what the coach tells me to in football," right? It's accomplishable, right? So I like to see that, and that's a big factor towards my happiness.
Very nice.
I'm not asking Brittany.
Don't. It's dangerous.
I've seen the stuff that she's been reading lately. But there's a possibility I'll get stabbed twice in one day.
Maybe. I just want to vacation. That's all I want.
But if your whole life is a vacation, are you ever really on vacation?
Yes, if I'm not working and I'm drinking margaritas on the beach, it's a vacation.
I can't go to the beach.
I keep having to try to explain to my husband there that trips to Arkansas are not a vacation because I do work while I'm there and deal with.
I don't.
Yeah, it's not a vacation. See, no, going to see family is not a vacation. It'd be like Patrick saying going to Atlanta was a vacation.
Yeah, for the longest time we called those vacations, and then we wondered why we were always so tired and so burned out.
Yeah,
and then
it's not
we
a
went
vacation.
to Hawaii last year, and we were like, "Oh, this is a vacation."
Yeah, like going home is not a vacation. Although we
Donnie,
do
don't
it
go
every
home.
3 weeks.
Don't go back to Wisconsin right now. They're getting a blizzard.
Yep.
I saw it a while ago.
No, thank you.
All right. AI, I think we have one more topic to conclude today's episode.
We do. We need to know what some myths are around happiness.
Myths around happiness. I think we covered a lot of them. Money,
Yeah.
buying happiness. I think you could, like we talked about earlier, it can to a certain point. But after that point, it doesn't really buy happiness. More material stuff. I don't think we covered that, but that can make you happy to a certain point. I think that's more of a immediate happiness. What do they call that? You get that hit of dopamine or whatever and makes you happy, but it's not a lasting thing for happiness. And then purpose. That one, I guess, would not really be a myth, but I think that's a huge one that affects your happiness.
So I would disagree with you on the dopamine thing because I get a lot of instant gratification when I go to the store and buy something compared to whenever I order it on Amazon, like I just want to go get it,
Yeah.
right? Instant gratification makes me happy. For a moment, like you
Yeah.
said, gives it maybe not long term. I would probably be just as happy if I ordered off Amazon and saved a couple bucks. But I like the instant gratification. If I want to go buy, a new coffee cup, I'm going to buy a new coffee cup.
You don't get any more new coffee cups.
You don't get to tell me what I do. That doesn't make me happy. But yeah, no, I 100% agree. Money can't, you can't buy happiness to a point. You have to have money at some point to be happy, but you can't just have money to buy happiness. So I think that's true. And then that's the only two big myths that I really know about, right? Money buys happiness, and so. Got any more?
Yeah.
Anybody have any more myths about happiness?
Like other people, I think that may be one. Where you're around certain
So
people.
let me ask you this. Yeah, do you think happiness is contagious?
Yes.
I would
In
say
a
to an
sense, if you
extent.
surround yourself with happy people, you're going to be happier than if you surround yourself with a bunch of miserable people.
I think so, right? I don't know necessarily about the happiness, but I can definitely see it the opposite, right? If you surround yourself with Debbie Downers, people that's always depressed, negative all the time, it's going to rub off on you and you're going to be negative as well, right? So I guess it would work the other way. Now, if I surround myself with somebody super chippy or happier than I am, I'm going to want to slap them, but it might rub off a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's contagious for sure. I think that a lot of our happiness is generated by the things we choose to surround ourselves with and the people that we choose to surround ourselves with. So I agree. I think one of the myths though that I had written down kind of getting ready for today was that happiness is a permanent state, that we're going to one day get to a happiness point and then we'll just always be happy. That was something that came up a lot in some of the reading I was doing, and that's just never the case, because happiness is something that we get to, and then we're gonna, even if we're just 1% more sad the next moment, we're technically not happy anymore. So I think that it's very important for people to realize that happiness is not an eternal state of being. You're gonna be happy, you're gonna be sad. It's an up and down type thing. That's part of life. And just because you're not happy at this moment doesn't mean you're never gonna be happy again.
Yeah, I get mad at times. Overall, I'm a happy person, but we all have those emotions.
No.
Whatever. Yes, I am. I'm a very happy person. When I have my coffee and the dentists don't stab me 5 times, 15, whatever. But in general, I'm a happy person, But I do get mad, right? So it's not an eternal state. I agree. All right, Donnie, I'm going to put this one up to you. Final thoughts on the science of happiness. Let's close this out today.
Final thoughts. Really, I think ultimately, I think happiness comes from you yourself. I mean, there's lots of things you can do to help you get there, but I think unless you actually have the feeling of happiness, in your, you feel it in your body, then I don't think you're truly gonna be happy. There are a lot of things that can contribute to it, but I just don't believe that it's any one thing can make you truly happy.
Yeah, so there's no secret sauce, no secret formula, nothing that everybody can do, that a checklist of make X amount of money, you know, have so many friends, have this many purposes, it's going to make everybody on the same happiness level, but everybody has to determine their own happiness. Cool. All right. Well, I guess we will see you guys next week. Hopefully AI has something fun in store.